ancient evil has arisen from the shadows. Sauron gathers power. His malice inflames those who follow him. To the north, he sends Agandaur, cruel master of dark sorceries, to crush all who would dare oppose him. Against this rising shadow stand those who do not seek glory, who do not seek power. Those who fight to stem the onslaught. To protect their people, their lands, and all of Middle-earth. Three bright flames of courage to challenge the darkness.
Здравствуйте, здравствуйте, дамы и господа. Продолжаем играть в ВК. Война на севере. Прошло несколько дней. Последней записи. Ну, в этой у нас будет, наверное, разговор в Нордибаде и Темнолесье в одной серии, потому что здесь 4 персонажа, по сути, с кем можно поговорить. И кот сразу же куда-то намылился, и мне надо ему дверь открыть. Ну, блин. Сейчас приду. Так, с Бруни. У меня все диалоги, наверное, сохранились уже. Ну, по сути, да. По сути, сохранились.
Yes, I am on my way.
Тут мы уже побегали, я вам показал. Кстати, когда загрузочный экран есть, нам показывают, как выглядит Нордибад снаружи. Я почему-то на это в первый раз обратил внимание. Он для меня не выглядел как Нордибад, пока я не увидел вот эту вот как раз шапку его, где мы находимся. Вот. На самом деле там очень много резьбы и камней они вбухали для постройки такой цитадели. Что ж, идем.
Sire, those I spoke of. Allow me to present a kinsman, Farn of Erebor, and also Andriel and Eridan, his companions. We succeeded in our task, and I live to tell of it, thanks only to their aid.
You are most welcome here, kinsman, and no less so your companions, be they man, elf, or eagle. Welcome all to Nordibad, last hall of the Longbeards in the Grey Mountains. You have returned to me, my son and my oldest friend, whom already I mourned as lost. For this, you will forever have my gratitude and the hospitality of these halls. Know that this is not something lightly given, for never before have we allowed any but our own folk to pass these gates, and no eyes have gazed upon the hidden lake of Azanzaram, save those of our close kindred. Yet for what you have done, I will gladly lay aside our ancient oath of secrecy.
Музыку не сделал потише, блин. Уже ошибка. Зачем вы напали на Гундабад?
Your warriors struck a heavy blow against the orcs of Gundabad, but the cost was great. These walls of yours are both high and strong. Why not wait for the enemy to spend their strength against them?
Were we dealing with the host of Gundabad alone, we would have done just that. We've repulsed many orc attacks in the past, but this time their numbers were far too great. Orcs and goblins have been pouring into Gundabad from every pit and cave in the north.
We struck them a heavy blow. But even so, we'll still be hard-pressed if they move against us here.
Now you know why my people were at Gundabad. But I cannot help but wonder what brought the three of you there.
We were seeking a servant of the enemy, a man known as Agendar.
Agendar. We are familiar with that one. Curse his Blackheart.
He appeared before our gates some weeks past, and called us to parley. In the name of Sauron the Great, so he said.
A parley? What did he ask of you?
He demanded that we yield ourselves up to the mercy of Sauron. As if there was any mercy in the Dark Lord.
He lays claim to Nordibad, telling us if we turn over our halls and riches without a fight, our lives will be spared, and we will be free to seek a new home elsewhere.
Of course, we would have nothing of that. When we defied him, he grew wrathful, threatening us with the fiery doom that overtook our ancestors.
Почему Нордибад?
What could he want with Nordibad? I do not mean to offend, but these halls are very remote. Is it wealth he seeks?
Nay, Nordibad provides for our needs, but never have we considered it rich, save in beauty.
I fear he may have allied himself with the dragon Orgast, who dwells in these parts. With such a beast at his command, we would have little hope of resisting him.
A dragon? But I thought the world had seen the last of dragons after Bard the Bowman slew Smaug.
Alas, no. There are dragons still to be found in these mountains, and yet more dwell in the wastes beyond. They may not be as great or wicked as was Smaug, but they are large and evil enough. Make no mistake about that.
But could even Agendaur command the allegiance of such a creature?
Perhaps not on his own account, but if he speaks for the Dark Lord, even Orgast would think twice before offending him.
Nah, dragons are wicked creatures, and their greed knows no bounds. Agendaur only has to name the right price.
Then would it not be best to destroy this dragon before it can be used as a weapon?
Well, destroy Orgast? If only it were that simple. The attack on Gundabad would be a peaceful stroll around the lake in comparison. Nay, if it were so easy to slay dragons, there would be many more dwarves still dwelling in these mountains.
Urgost has never taken notice of us before. We rather hoped it would stay that way.
They say it does not pay to leave a live dragon out of your calculations if you live near one.
And we cannot allow Agendar to gain such a powerful ally.
Agreed. Where can we find Urgost?
You do not lack for courage, I will grant you. Yet we
Безумие.
know not where the dragon dwells. No dwarf has discovered his lair and lived to tell of it.
Perhaps Radagast knows this secret, or can discover it. Seems there is little that happens in Wilderland that escapes his notice.
Who is Radagast?
Radagast the Brown. He is a wizard, a master of birds and beasts. He keeps to himself mostly, but he's a decent enough sort. As long as you mean no harm to the wild creatures he befriends.
He dwells within the forest of Mirkwood, away to the south. Perhaps your companion Belaram would know where to find him, for it is said that Radagast is a friend to the Lord of Eagles himself.
Much as I'd like to avoid Mirkwood, seems like it'd be worth our time to speak to this wizard.
Indeed. But before you set out, please accept a token of our gratitude. Seek out my steward Galar. I have instructed him to open our vaults to you. I believe you may find something within that will be of service in the days ahead.
Раз, два, три, четыре. Аж на 4 уменьшил. Ну, пока можно и на 4. Так, мы много диалогов пропустили из-за этого.
We would be honored if you would accept a token of our gratitude. Find my steward Galar. I have instructed him to present you with some of our finest work. Choose whatever you will, and may it serve you well.
You are Longbeards. Then you are of Durin's folk, and close kin to Farin.
Aye. In centuries past, most of our kin called these mountains home. But then the dragons came from the far north. One by one, our halls were lost or abandoned. All but Nordibad. We alone endured those dark times. And thanks to you, we may hope to endure our current troubles as well.
What can you tell me of your home?
My great-great-grandsire was the first to enter the caves of this mountain, where he discovered the hidden lake we call Azanzaran. He was awed by its beauty, and led some of his kin here. Slowly, over many long years, with loving hands and careful chisels, we created the halls you see before you. Nordibad was never rich in gold or jewels, but its beauty would move even the most cold-hearted dwarf. That is why we have remained here for so long. There is not a dwarf among us who would not choose death over exile from our home.
This lake, did your kin create it?
Nay, my ancestors discovered Azanzaram even as you see it. We have worked with care to enhance what we found. A chip here, a tap there, fashioning bridges, halls, and tunnels. But always, we have taken care to preserve the great gift we were given.
I thank you for your generosity, Lord Gorin.
Красивое озеро. Но туда мы не пройдем. Вообще непонятно, куда можно пройти после ворот, которые вот здесь. Такое ощущение, что в основные жилые чертоги ведет какая-нибудь лодка. Никаких мостов, просто лодки. Но выглядит мое почтение. Отдаленно напоминает Шульву из Dark Souls 2. Там такая же атмосфера. А вот и живая версия моего никнейма стоит. С кого я его списал.
I still can't believe I'm alive. I thought I would draw my last breath in the fetid air of Mount Gundabad. Mind you, I'm not complaining.
It seems you did not hesitate to offer your life in the defense of Nordibad.
Every dwarf of Nordibad is ready to do as much. It's the way we are taught from the earliest age, and the only way we've managed to survive this long.
Tell me about Bruni, the other dwarf who survived Mount Gundabad.
Bruni is the captain of our guard, the terror to the orcs of these mountains. He's been my father's best friend since long before I was born, and he taught me how to wield an axe, and what it means to serve.
Tell me about Gorin, your father. Is he a king?
King? Oh, no. He is merely the Lord of Nordibad. We acknowledge Dane Ironfoot as the rightful king of the Longbeards. Not that he has any idea of our existence.
Someday you may be Lord of Nordibad. Will you seek a reunion with your sundered kin when that day comes?
Secrecy has always preserved us here before, but it can't do so for much longer. We are a dwindling folk, and this war has only made that worse. Nordibad is precious, but I see little point in leaving it empty. If we survive the days ahead, we will seek out our kin. My father sees the need for this as well. Were it not so, I wouldn't have dared bring you and your friends to our hidden halls.
It sounds as if you have been in Mirkwood before.
I've been around it a lot more than in it, and that suits me just fine. I don't care for that wood. Don't know how anyone could. But I've often traveled to the eaves of the forest to trade with the Bjornings who live thereabout. It was on such a trading venture that I happened to meet Radagast.
Who are these people, the Bjornings?
A hardy folk, and brave. as any who dwell between Mirkwood and the Misty Mountains would need to be. Under their chieftain, Grimbiorn, they've kept the mountain passes and river crossings open, even in these troubled times. But I've heard rumors of war on their borders of late. The high passes may now be closed, at least to those without the benefit of eagle wings.
А бёрнинги, они... Ну, это оборотни, по сути, которые... некоторые из которых умеют превращаться в медведей, а те, кто не умеют этого делать, те просто большие и коренастые люди, скажем так. Сильные и могучие.
Can you tell me more about Radagast?
He's an unusual sort. Friend to all beasts and birds. To be honest, I don't think he cares much for dwarves. But maybe he just prefers the company of animals. One thing's certain. There are few people with more knowledge of this part of the world. He even spoke of Nordibad as if it were common knowledge.
Do you believe we will be a match for Urgost?
It's not that I doubt your courage and skill. And I'd be mighty glad to no longer have a dragon as a neighbor. But truthfully, I wonder if anyone can overcome such a beast. I just hope your luck proves equal to your daring.
What comes next for your folk?
I'm afraid we're all out of tricks to play. All we can do is prepare our defenses, hunker down and wait for whatever the winds of war might blow our way.
I wish you luck with whatever fate may bring. Farewell, Nordri.
Музыка, знаете, меня прям душит сегодня. Вот прям вообще душит и душит. Врублю попозже. А люди бы и это засрали. Реально засрали бы. 100 бы человека было бы... берегло бы это озеро, а один какой-нибудь его бы засрал. Вот тут так оно и работает, блин. А у гномов это все столетиями. А то и тысячелетиями сохраняется. Даже у гномов, не говоря об эльфах. Вот настолько велико мое уважение к людям. Либо фэнтезийные расы слишком хорошо прописаны. Вот что за этими воротами? Чисто вода? Да, гном? Открой. Доспехи у них чисто кольчуга. Просто чисто кольчуга. Легко бронированные гномы. Обычной стрелой убьет. Но гномиков я всегда любил. Ну что ж, кузнец. Гном. У которого можно создать оружие. Я с тобой поговорю, но мне интересно, что сделает эльф.
Ah, you must be that ranger I've been hearing about. Word of you has spread like a beard on fire. I'm pleased to meet anyone who strikes a blow against the enemy. And I hear you struck a very hard blow indeed. So, how can I help you today?
Is that burnt hair that I smell?
Well, hard to be a smith without getting a few sparks in your beard. What do you expect when you're working with a hammer and forging hot metal? They've taken to calling me Burry Burntbeard. Used to have a beard down to my belt. Well, shorter is safer. Long as you keep a bucket of water handy, there's nothing to worry about.
How great are your skills as a smith?
I'm no braggart, but I'll put my skills up against any smith, dwarf, elf, or man. You may think I don't know much, being set apart from others of my craft. But I'll tell you a little secret. My grandsires go back all the way to the smiths that worked alongside the great elven smith, Celebrimbor himself. In the days of ancient Eregion, it was a great friendship between elves and dwarves. We've passed down skills from forgotten times. I know runes of power and other secrets that give my weapons and armor a hidden strength you'll not find elsewhere. You won't complain about my work.
What lore do you know of Eregion?
The lore passed down from my grandsires is little enough. That Eregion lay west of the Misty Mountains near Moria. That the elves of Eregion were of a kind known as Noldor, and were clever craftsmen. The Noldor didn't know in the beginning that Sauron was evil. Sauron came to Eregion and taught them how to forge rings of power. But after Sauron was revealed, he invaded Eregion and destroyed it. Nearly 5,000 years ago, that was. Doubt there's much left of the place now. But Sauron's fixing to do the same thing all over again. Even here in the far north.
Такие дела. Очень жаль.
Tell me of Celebrimbor.
None was a greater craftsman of jewels and forger of metals than Celebrimbor, who was Lord of Eregion. Close friend he was to Narvi, the great stonemaster, and to my grandsires. He even made 7 rings of power for the dwarves. It was Celebrimbor who knew that Sauron had betrayed the elves by making 1 ring. He heard the enemy declare himself master over all. He was killed in the first war against Sauron, and many of his secrets were lost. Narvi and his kin were lost as well. Only one of my ancestors escaped to carry the tale. So it's been told from grandsire to me.
Эх.
I've carried with me a few artifacts that I found on my travels. What do you make of them?
Well, now, I'm no lore master, but these look to be the work of men. Ancient, beyond a doubt. Superb work. Some of the finest I've seen. Perhaps even the work of Westerness from Numenor, that now lies beneath the sea. I could put these together into a single weapon for you. And a superior weapon it would be. Mind you, I'd be applying my own craft to it, so it'll also have the qualities of a dwarf weapon.
And that would differ from an elven smith?
That's the way of it. An elven smith would bring certain qualities to the work if he were to put this together, but I think you'll be satisfied with what I can add as well.
I'd like to see what an elven smith might do with this task. Perhaps I'll wait.
Well, I have no quarrel with that. Elven smiths do fine work, but I'm happy to do it for you if you change your mind.
Скорее всего, это будет просто копия вот этого вот клинка. Который у меня уже есть. Я об этом говорил. Ну что-то я не совсем понял, где квест на черную жемчужину. Да-да, корабль из Пиратов Карибского моря. Шутка. Другую черную жемчужину.
So you're the Dunedain Ranger, eh? I can't see what all the fuss is about. I suppose you're tougher than you look, though I heard you had a dwarf helping you. Are you here to buy something? I've an excellent stock of the best Nordibad craftwork, so speak up. Time's a wasting.
Who trades with you in such an isolated place?
We've had a rough time of it here, I won't deny it. Mostly we managed some trade with the Bjornings, the men who live down south of us in the vales of the Anduin. They've good use for our metalwork, and they bring us foodstuffs in return. Otherwise, there'd be mushrooms for breakfast, mushrooms for lunch, and mushrooms for dinner. You wouldn't believe how many ways we've learned to cook mushrooms. That's enough jabbering. If you're not going to buy something, let me get back to my work.
Are you always this cheerful?
Well, let's see. We've got an orc army growing, a dragon hungry for dwarf snacks, and one of Sauron's lieutenants making threats. Pardon me while I break out in a song and dance. Now see here, I need to do some business, so how's about you buy something before I get downright grumpy?
Ух. Классный.
Goran sent me to you. He said I should speak to you to receive a token of his gratitude.
Yes, yes. He may have mentioned it to me. It was rather too generous of him. Not that I don't appreciate what you did, but how does he expect me to increase our wealth by giving our best work away? Well, here you go. Take your pick.
Она уместилась. А, ну да, спокойно уместилась.
Are you here to buy something? Speak up. Time's a waste.
Ну, поторгую я с ним за кадром. Что у меня по квестам? Можно в Ривенделл слетать. Больше у меня ничего прям такого нет. Жемчужину мне давай.
Back, I see. And what can I do for you now?
Наверное, надо избавиться от этих обломков оружия, чтобы получить квест на жемчужину.
I should be off. Goodbye.
Но я не совсем уверен. Ладно. Сейчас поторгую, потом к эльфу слетаем. Сделаем у него оружие. Пауза. Ну, продался. Давайте посмотрим, что нам город дал. Но, как и предполагалось, это уже легенда идет, и новую коробочку он не дает. Это уже знакомая хрень. Вот. 8 ловкость это... Ну, как бы говно. Эти лучше, но уже не намного. И у меня перчатки намного лучше. 55 могущества, у меня эти штаны лежат. Наверное, с прошлого раза лежат. У меня есть всего лишь 8 выносливости. Ну, ничего из этого не стоит того. Вот банально ботинки 240. Насколько мои отстают? Не, 271, например. Такие дела. Но по цене это 86 тысяч. Но деньги мне тоже, конечно, не нужны. Ну, 86 тысяч, так 86 тысяч.
Are you here to buy?
Хочешь свои богатства, получай их назад. Типа, мне не жалко.
Back, I see.
А, наверное, вот по этому диалогу у меня будет квест на жемчужину.
You've hidden in this isolated cavern for a long time. Could it be that you found something precious, like mithril?
Oi! We've no such wealth as mithril here. Not that I haven't dreamt of finding a vein of true silver. I work iron and a bit of ordinary silver or gold. A few gems here and there. Mostly we hide to escape the notice of the dragons. Bad blood between dwarves and dragons as well, you know. And then there's all the orcs. Ah, but I dream of a day when we could trade for finer goods. I've been working on a silver belt studded with crystal, with a special mount for a gem I crave above all others. The gem that comes from no mine.
What gem is that?
Pearls! The most perfect and beautiful of precious things. How they glimmer and gleam. I've hoarded a small handful of white pearls, but even those won't satisfy me for this belt. My dream of perfection is nothing less than the fabled Black Pearl. I've heard rumor of them, but I fear I'll never see one.
I can't promise anything, but I'll keep an eye open for black pearls. If I can bring you one, I will.
Mighty good of you. You'll find me generous should you return. I mean, when you return. Anything else I can do for you?
I should be off. Goodbye.
Ну, квестик нашли. Сокровище моря. Ну, у Джека Воробья. У капитана Джека Воробья. Он так просто и ее не отдаст. Ну, мы знаем, что выкует. Что он выкует из обломков оружия. Мне по-прежнему интересно, что будет из... Ну, от эльфа. Короче, на легенде. Опять кот отвлек. Так, идем. Ну, этот заодно просто показываю. Вот как у них свет это проникает, непонятно, конечно. Ну как проникает. Заодно просто показываю эти чертоги, но самое классное мы уже увидели. Почему-то на записи я разглядываю гораздо больше и интереснее, чем разглядывал, когда играл один. Наверное, чтобы вас подзаебать. Гоблины, конечно, здесь все испоганят. Как вам каменные столы? Хотели бы такие столы себе? Которые не передвинуть. Марс, отстань. Отстань от меня.
It is clear the folk of Nordibad take pride in their work.
Двери, конечно, странные, у них такие сдвижные, волшебные, непонятные. Как они работают. Но это не так важно. Это частично они забрали у гномов Вархаммера какого-нибудь. Мастерство. Что-то какая-то просадка FPS была, когда я вышел. Но по сути это две разные локации, да. Поэтому и была просадка.
Mirkwood is a place I prefer to fly over, not into, but we are ready to go.
Your friends were eager to offer their services. Perhaps they do not fully appreciate the danger. What can you tell me of them?
Armanel is a seasoned warrior. He knows full well what he faces, and accepts it gladly. Baron Thor is young, and eager to prove himself. But he has deep courage, and few can match it. But you need not take my word.
Это мы уже читали. Так. Ургост.
We must hope Radagast can tell us where to find Urgost. Have you ever faced a dragon before?
No. That is a risk I have gladly avoided. One does not willingly seek out a dragon, unless there is no choice.
You are afraid of dragons?
Only a fool would not fear a dragon. If Urgost has survived this long, he must be full of the guile and cunning of his kind, abominations that they are. And this will make him even more dangerous. But that changes nothing. If we must prevent his alliance with Agandar, then fear must be set aside and the dragon found. We should follow Gorin's advice and seek Urgost's whereabouts from Radagast.
Radagast is a good friend of yours?
The Brown Wizard has been a close friend of the Eagles since he first came to Middle-earth and settled into the forest that is now called Mirkwood, even before it came to have that dark name. That was long before I was born, but I have visited with him many times in his home at Rosgobel when I would bring him news from afar. But I have not seen him since he abandoned Rosgobel.
Why would he abandon his home?
He was gone from his home before I could ask. But there has been a growing threat and darkness in the south of Mirkwood. I believe Rosgobel is no longer safe.
even for a wizard. But fear not. I know Radagast's favored places in the north of Mirkwood. We will find him, or I will bring you to a place you are likely to find him at the very least.
Then we must travel to Mirkwood.
We will be ready.
И как я целый час провел в Броваре в самом начале. Арен, извини, нету Митриля. Нету и не будет.
Hello, Eridan. I do hope you've come to give me an account of your recent adventures.
Very well. When we reached Mount Gundabad, a fierce winter storm was raging. Our eagle companions seized us in their talons and lifted us to safety just as the mountainside came crashing down.
My goodness, what a harrowing tale. Your adventures seem to be getting more and more hair-raising all the time. Still, it makes for a good story. I really should get started on writing it all down. People will want to know about this someday. Oh, I really should have taken notes. So you're going to Mirkwood in order to find a dragon. It seems frighteningly familiar somehow. I do hope you will be careful. Dragons are serious business.
Why, of course. I'd nearly forgotten. But you have dealt with the dragon before.
Why, yes, I suppose there are not too many people who've come face to face with a dragon and lived to tell of it.
Do you have any advice to offer on dealing with them?
Advice? First I'd say stealing from them is generally a bad idea. I'd avoid that if you can. Secondly, should you find yourself in a pinch, try flattery.
Pardon me, but you said flattery?
Yes, strange as it may seem, I was rather complimentary when I spoke with old Smaug and found he took to flattery as readily as my niece Angelica. Yes, vain creatures, the both of them. I really hope you'll come back later and fill me in on how your adventures are progressing.
I shall, if time and fortune allow. Now, I should be on my way. Farewell.
На самом деле это очень важная информация для нас. После темнолетия я еще раз к нему зайду, чтобы еще раз это, проговорить. Потому что это открывает новые диалоги с драконом. И в итоге мы можем получить от него подарок. Вот. Ну, как я и сказал, самое бесценное это камни того эльфа, которого мы уже не можем больше получить за этот заход.
Those who ventured...
Welcome, my friend. You are to be congratulated on what you accomplished at Mount Gundabad. Thanks to you and the warriors of Nordibad, there are now fewer orcs to menace the north. From what you have told me, it is apparent the folk of Nordibad are both courageous and resourceful. They are welcome allies in our struggle against Agendaur.
They believe Agendaur may be trying to gain the aid of a dragon called Urgost.
A dragon? That is ill news. Such a weapon would give Agendaur an overwhelming advantage.
We are already resolved to eliminate the threat of Urgost, but we have no idea where he dwells. Our new friend Nordri suggested we consult with the wizard Radagast.
Your courage is commendable, but I do not believe you fully comprehend the danger. This dragon may prove a foe too great for even you and all your companions to overcome.
That may well be, but we believe it is better to seek him out now rather than waiting for him to strike first. We might at least gain the element of surprise.
There is truth in what you say. We should do all we can to deny Agendaur this living weapon.
Could Agendaur be a threat to the Ring-Bearer and his mission?
Perhaps, but the Company of the Ring is bound southward, away from the regions where we believe Agendaur to be. We can hope that he has no thought for the Ring. Indeed, I doubt he even knows of it.
Do you have any idea where Urgos may be found?
Sadly, I do not. I have long feared there were still dragons lurking in the Grey Mountains, but I have no knowledge of this creature Urgost. Radagast may indeed be our best hope of locating him. The Brown Wizard is adept at gathering information.
Then we must travel to Mirkwood.
Which means your quest will be fraught with peril long before you locate the dragon, for Mirkwood is a dark and dangerous place.
What can you tell me of Mirkwood?
Mirkwood lies east over the Misty Mountains. It is the greatest woodland in all of Middle-earth, and it was known as Greenwood the Great in fairer days. But the shadow of Sauron has fallen over the forest, and with each passing year it grows darker and more perilous. It is the haunt of orcs and spiders, and other creatures darker still. Any who venture there will need to keep their wits and their weapons about them.
И тем не менее, как бы эльфы тут не сражались, после войны Кольца они все равно все уплывут на запад. Здесь не останется в Средиземье ни одного эльфа. Ни одного. Что Ривенделл, что чертоги Трандуила, все канет в небытие. Разве что туда могут заселиться другие расы и что-то там поддерживать. Но все равно же там будет перестройка культуры и прочего. Поэтому эльфов в Средиземье не будет. И это грустно.
We won't let that prevent us from finding Radagast.
My mind is still uneasy about this plan, but it is said that fortune often favors the bold, who may say what will befall. Know that the blessings of all the folk of Imladris will go with you.
Ну как ни крути, в мире Арды они будут существовать, а значит рано или поздно все равно состыкуются. Может быть, с людьми. Ну, может и нет. Ведь та земля богов, и боги могут так родить, даже если у людей появится атомное оружие.
Hello again. What can I help you with?
Давай, ладно, делаем эльфийское оружие, посмотрим, что будет. Как-никак он ковал Нарси.
The lost land of Numenor. The men who forged these items were skilled indeed. You have the makings of a unique weapon here. Although these components were never part of a single work, I believe you have assembled everything I would need to make it so. The finished weapon would undoubtedly carry some elven qualities.
What do you mean by that?
Only that with a work such as this, the finished product is liable to reflect the nature of the smith who assembles it. If, for example, a dwarven smith were to complete this weapon, it might possess quite different qualities from the weapon I would create.
I would be pleased if you would undertake this task.
Very good. I will get started at once. There, it is finished. May this serve you well, my friend.
You have done my ancestors proud, Angmir. Thank you.
Ну так, чем удивишь? Конечно, боевой шест меня не интересует. А для эльфа. Ну, так сказать, он не очень сильно прям отличается, и он мне еще и холод дал. Это прям неплохой такой клинок, но прочность у него, хотя замедление износа есть. Любопытно. Любопытно. Кстати говоря, на удивление эльфийский даже лучше, чем гномий. На 7 воля. Плюс могущество и холод. Здесь, конечно, ярость и глубокие раны, но... Я прям даже и не знаю. Ну давай. Давай так. Прикольно. Что-нибудь новое скажете, нет?
Be glad to feel the wind under my wings again.
How does this adventure feel to you, Baron Thor, after the dangers we faced?
Well, it is perhaps not quite the adventure I was expecting. I had hoped to kill more orcs by now, or slay a troll or two. But I'm ready to go on. Belaram and Arminel are depending on me, and I have yet to truly prove myself.
Do you know where to find the wizard Radagast in Mirkwood?
His home was Rosgabelt, or the south of Mirkwood, but that part of the forest has become even darker and more dangerous than before. Radagast left Rosgabelt some time ago. Belaram feels the wizard is in the northern part of Mirkwood. We cannot see beneath the thick boughs of the forest, but Belaram knows something of the wizard's ways. We will find him, never fear.
С этими двумя может только в Ривенделле поговорить.
Imladris is a pleasant haven, yet I prefer the high peaks of the mountains.
When first we spoke, you said you burned for vengeance. We have now dealt the enemy a heavy blow. Do you still feel the same?
The thirst for revenge still burns hot within me. And now that I have seen how great a threat Agandaur poses to the north, I am more determined than ever to find him.
The three of us would have died in Gundabad without the help of the Eagles. Thank you, Arminel.
You see now the wisdom of Gwahir. He must have foreseen such a need. Your thanks are welcome, but it was worth the danger to see the pits of Gundabad torn asunder.
Итак. Два эльфа ушли. А мы летим дальше. Ну, пока что Сарн Гебир, но там не так много разговаривать, наверное. Если там что-то поменялось, то мы уже туда летать не будем точно. Поменялось что-нибудь? Поменялось, они ушли.
Have you heard? Halbarad has led a company of Dunedain south to aid Aragorn in the war. If only I would have been allowed to join them. Too young, they said.
You may not have ridden off to war, but the fate of Middle-earth is balanced on a knife's edge. War may soon come to you.
I fear you may be right about that. The best we can do is face our doom bravely, wherever it may overtake us.
Yes, and I have no doubt you will, should it come to that. Good luck to you, Alaron.
Most of our people have gone south to aid in the war. How many will return, I wonder?
Halbarad has gone off to the south with as many of our people as he could gather. War is brewing, and Aragorn has need of his kinsmen.
Farewell, Haldor.
Welcome. I did not think to see you here again. You've missed Halbarad. He's gone away to the south, and many of the Dunedain have gone with him. But if you are in need of supplies, I may still have a thing or two for you.
Halbarad has gone? Where did he go?
Word came to us through the elves of Rivendell that Aragorn was in need of his kinsmen. Seems bloody war has come to Gondor. The sons of Elrond accompanied them. Ah, to be a younger man.
You may have missed war in Gondor, but there are still battles to be fought closer to home.
For you, perhaps. But I have seen too many winters to ride to war now. Yet, if our hope should fail, I'm still likely to die with a sword in my hand. For my part, I would not mind. But for the sake of those who are still young, I hope it will not be so.
Yes, old friend. I hope so also.
No one longs for peace more than the warrior, it seems. But I fear there are still great trials ahead of you. You must be prepared. Take a look at the stores I have on hand.
Keep well, Maradon.
Наверное, эту серию все-таки надо сделать отдельной. Потому что она заняла час уже.
You've returned. I'm happy to see you safe.
You seem far from happy. What has happened?
I thought maybe you had heard. The townsfolk talk of little else now. A gang of wicked men attacked Bree. We fought them off, but 5 of our people were killed. My Rowley was one of them.
That is hard news to hear. He was a good man.
When the attack came, Rowley fought them. I'm told he was very brave.
I am certain he was. He had much to fight for.
Thank you for saying so. It's comforting to hear.
The evil at the root of this crime will be destroyed. Rowley will be avenged.
I hope you're right. It would be good to know that others won't have to suffer what I have.
I hope greater comfort will come to you in time. Farewell.
Ah, we meet again. You were right. The Bree folk bought up every weapon I had to sell. It's a pity I couldn't have made it back sooner, though.
Why? Has something happened?
You haven't heard? A gang of brigands attacked the town. Some townsfolk were killed fighting them off. If they'd been better armed, it might have saved their lives.
Better armed and better prepared. The signs were there to see, but most chose to ignore them.
You can't blame them for hoping trouble would pass them by. But my folk have a saying. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
There is wisdom in that. Let us hope for the best, but keep our weapons close at hand. Farewell.
Oh, it's you. You were right about that stranger from the south. He was no good.
Tell me what happened.
A whole gang of ruffians attacked the town. That southerner was one of them. They killed some folk. Killed them dead. Good people I've known all my life.
What became of the southerner?
He won't bother anyone again. I made sure of that myself.
You were one of those that fought them then?
I was. The whole town banded together to drive them out. I just wish I could have done more.
It seems you have changed a good deal from the first time we met.
I was a fool to listen to that kind of talk. I wanted to get back at some people in this town. Blame them for my problems, I guess. I don't feel that way anymore.
What will you do now?
I'm part of the new town watch. And I'm doing a few things to help out the widows and orphans left behind by the fight. I feel like I owe them.
It sounds like you've learned a lot. Keep with it, Harley. And good luck.
Ну, это вообще ничего не скажет. Ты приуныл?
Hello. Pardon me if I seem glum, but troubled times have come to Bree. Suddenly selling old weapons has become a very grim business. Still, I may have something here that will be of use to you. You're welcome to take a look.
Приуныл.
I must be going.
Ну, с ними я не знаю, есть ли смысл разговаривать.
I have to thank you again for bringing me those weapons. The town was attacked by a gang of ruffians. I was able to arm several townsmen and we managed to drive them off. We lost some men, but it could have been far worse.
I feared something like that could happen.
The town is well armed now, but our men still lack any real skill with their weapons. I hope they have time to learn.
What precautions are you taking against further trouble?
We've organized a watch and keep a strong guard on the gates at all times. Men are training with their new weapons daily. This isn't the same town it once was.
Good luck to you.
So, you're back. I hope you aren't intending to make trouble. You'll find that everyone's keeping a careful eye on strangers now.
Why is that so?
We've had trouble right here in Bree. Outsiders attacked the town. Some of our own folk joined in with them. There was a real set to in the streets and we drove them out, but we lost some good men.
What sort of dangers do you face?
The woods nearby are filled with robbers and cutthroats, and wolves have taken to roaming our fields at night. I've heard rumors of worse things lurking out there as well.
Лицо не анимировано в некоторых диалогах.
Perhaps now you have come to see the true value of my kin.
I admit it's good to see a ranger in town. I've heard that most of your folk have gone off somewhere. I don't think we understood until now just how much you did for us. We were fools not to be more appreciative. Rangers will always be welcome in Bree from now on.
Very few knew of our long labor for the safekeeping of your borders, but we don't begrudge it. Let us hope for better days ahead.
Ну вот, час видео. Вроде со всеми побеседовали. В Бровару можно больше не летать, в Сарн Гебир можно больше не летать. В Ривенделл НАТО будет. Ну и Ривенделл и Нордибад. Все. Сейчас чисто перемещусь в Нордибад, чтобы начать новую серию, а потом полетим. Вон как он выглядит. А Завершеие, собственно, это как раз место, которое мы видим. Ну, может, я в картинку к серии это поставлю, конечно. Спасибо, что смотрели. Навряд ли вам интересны хаб-локации, но вот, для лора полетали, поговорили, что-то сделали. Поюзаем этот мечик. Может, он снизит мой урон, но мы его поюзаем все равно. Для защиты Нордибада, наверное, его хватит. Может быть, но самое главное прошло, как бы. Если защита Нордибада у нас займет несколько попыток, ну и пусть. Типа, ничего страшного. Вот. Встретимся в темнолесье, что я могу сказать. Всем пока-пока.